Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Words of Wellness. I'm your host, Yassir Al-Manawi, a clinical therapist. Today we're going to be talking about and discussing character. How do we develop healthy character in our children? How do we have characters in our home? How does our home, or how does the character of our home need to be shaped? So we have an ayah from the Quran. We are going to read it, and then we're going to be talking about these issues. This is a translation. That's how it goes. O you who believe, strive to protect yourselves and your wives and your children from the fire. You remember when we talked about everything begins with myself? That's also in the ayah. Strive to protect yourselves. What does that mean? Why did it start with myself? Because now we have, in our society today, if I am the man in the family, and I'm supposed to be the breadwinner, or I'm taking care of my family, if I don't take care of myself, what's going to happen? Who's going to take care of my family? Nobody. Nobody whatsoever. Now, take care of your wives. We have, in family therapy, we have a lot of issues between a husband and a wife. We have a lot of problems in the household between a husband and a wife and the children. Most likely these problems, not because they are enemies or they don't like each other or they don't care about each other. On the contrary, these problems arise because they all care about each other, maybe a little bit too much, but they do not know how to communicate. So there is a miscommunication in the family unit. So what we do is that the first thing is that we get the family and we make them realize, or we help them to realize, that they are still one unit and they are not working against one another. On the contrary, and the opposite is true. They all have the same goal and they all have to strive for it. However, they strive for it how? They strive for it by taking or going on the same pace. I can't be 100 miles ahead of them and I'm trying to pull them and I'm trying to, have a stick in my hand and tell them, come on, come on, come on, come on. It doesn't work like that. So let's see. How do I protect my wife? Strive to protect my wife. What does that mean? Protection begins with a sense of caring. Protection begins a sense of belonging. So I have to have the sense of caring and belonging. And I have to transfer this sense of caring and belonging to who? To my wife. So she in turn have the same feelings, caring and belonging. How do I do that? Respect. Love was never enough for a relationship. It's all good, but it's not enough. Why? Because we need respect, we need understanding, we need mutual agreements, and we need communication, open communication between a husband and a wife. That's the first step. How do we do that? We do that by having common goals. Like, for instance, my goal is to live healthy, to do things right in this life, and hopefully in the hereafter I will not go to hell. I want to go to heaven. So who has the same goal? My wife has the same goal, and hopefully all of our wives have the same goal. I really believe that in all religions, all faith, all different types of faith, not only in Islam, they have that goal. And that's the premise that we have to go from. From there, we can start setting goals together. How do we do that? If this is our main goal, how are we going to attain that goal? By doing number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. That's how I can protect my wife, and that's how she can protect me too. Let's turn this to the children. It says here, strive to protect yourself, your wife, and your children from the fire. How do I protect my children from the fire? I do that easily. Remember when we talked about values? I have to instill positive, good values in them. How do I do that? At a very small age, when they are young, when they are just an open page, and whatever I do is actually imprinted with them. If they see me honest, they're going to know that, oh yeah, honesty is important. I should be honest. If they see me helping other people, they say, oh yeah, I should do that. If they see me doing my duties in my life the correct way, they're going to be raised doing the same thing. I can't, for instance, I'm going to talk about the negative side of that right now, which is if I'm lazy and I don't work and I talk about people and I do everything wrong, and then what do you think my children are going to do, or any children are going to do? They're going to imitate their parents. Why? Because we gave them this message, not spoken. The message was not spoken, not by any means. The message was given to them in actions, by example. You remember when we said learn by example? That's the most learning in the children. They learn by example. So now, if I do this, and then they become teenagers, and they tell them, well, please do this or do that, or act this way or don't act that way, and they don't want to listen. Why? Because I did it in the past. So I have to protect everybody in my household, including myself. How? By acting the correct way, by watching my values, so I do not end up with a values conflict, because a values conflict is not only with myself, but also with my family. If my family have a conflict, I'm going to end up with a lot of family problems. That's why you find a lot of people today, they are in need for family therapy. About 15 to 20 years ago, family therapy was not in existence. About 10 years ago, family therapy was a new thing to do, to become a family therapist. Now, it's very common to have a family therapy. Family therapy, it works just like a mediator. This is, I'm talking about in the West. In the East, our family structure may be a little bit different, but I want you to always remember that within your family, you have to be loyal to them, meaning that you don't backbite. You don't talk about your wife, and the wife doesn't talk about her husband. It's just like cheating. Why? Because the other party feels betrayal. How could I trust somebody when they end up talking and giving my secrets away to somebody else, no matter who they are? Okay, like some people will come in the clinic and they would just say, well, okay, I didn't talk to anybody. I talked to her mother. Well, if your wife trusts you something, you need to respect that. And even her mother shouldn't know, unless if you tell her. So I'm going to talk about the value of knowing your boundaries, what you need to do and what you cannot do. Knowing boundaries is very important, because once you have a betrayal feeling in a relationship, that's going to be the end of it. It's very hard to overcome something like that. It's almost like you have a piece of glass and you break it and then you try to fix it. It's always there. It doesn't go away. So please, whatever you do, instill trust, respect, communication, unity in your family unit. That's encompassed all with what? Love and affection. With that, I'll leave you for today's episode, and we'll see you inshallah in our next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.